When we understand spirituality and a yogi's life in more depth, there are 72,000 energy channels. Most notably, there are three energy channels: the Sushumna, Ida, and the Pingala are known to flow as the energy channels in our bodies. The Sushumna represents fire, that balances the body. The Pingala represents the sun, indicating ego, pride, and such other features. Similarly, the Ida represents the moon, implying emotion, infatuation, attachment, etc. So these energies are inherent in us by birth. We cannot avoid such feelings. But what is the cause of these feelings? How are they born? As long as we look at the world with the mind, emotions will continue to arise. Emotions are because of the mind. The soul has no emotion. But what is the mind? The mind is the interpretation of the brain. So the mind cannot be erased, it can only be overruled. As Adi Shankaracharya quotes, the mind is the cause of attachment and liberation. This attachment also comes from ignorance regarding the spiritual world. Most of the time, we know that it is not okay to perform certain actions, but without our awareness or acceptance, we fall into the trap of bondage. A man makes a mistake, even if he wants to transform himself. Quite often we forget our resolutions and get drawn towards illusion. Man lives in an imaginary world. This is because of the attraction of Maya, illusion. Those who are drawn towards this attraction can never get out of the whirlpool. We cannot afford to fly against gravity. Just as a ladder is needed to move from one floor to another, to get out of the illusion, a man must have confidence, concentration, and determination. For example, you buy a piece of paddy field and plow it. As soon as you step into it, your foot gets stuck in the mud. But if you step on the hard bunch of paddy plants in the mud, your foot will not sink back into the mud. In actuality, the sludge in the paddy field is similar to the illusion of our life, and the plant is a tool to get out of the illusion. The plants represent a man's routine and thinking patterns. Why am I talking? Is it necessary for me to talk? One should think about this every second of life. Those who have such discretion do not fall into the mud. The ultimate Brahman, cosmos, is divided into 5 major powers in this world, namely, the 5 elements, Panchabhutas, fire, air, sky, earth and water. In our bodies these 5 elements constitute the 5 senses, Gyanendriya, eye, ear, nose, tongue and skin, and the 5 motors, Karmendriya, legs, hands, rectum, genitals, speech. The Gyanendriya perceive cognitive content and the Karmendriya perform actions. A yogi controls his Gyanendriya before he controls his motors. If the information reaches the eyes, then the process begins. If the voices reach the ears, if food is kept on the tongue, anything touches by the skin, and if the smell reaches the nose, the processes begin. We must therefore choose a quiet and uninterrupted space for meditation. That is why yogis meditate in a place of silence. Every morning or evening everyone should be able to meditate and focus on silence, even if it is just for a short time. The Panchabhutas must be shut by our own volition. Thus a man escapes the gravitational pull of the Arishadvagas, 6 negative emotions according to Hindu theology: lust, anger, greed, arrogance, delusion, and jealousy. This is called the state of emptiness, and this is what the yogis call the process of passing from the visible to the invisible. Meditation is the technique of returning to the formless from individuality, physical form, mind or body. Achieving this while living in the mundane world, one can reach the peak of the soul's principle. This is the state of a yogi.